Tonight, we introduce you to another featured official in our Stars in Stripes series, where we highlight local referees and officials from around our area. Tonight, we introduce you to Stan Kielar, a Pennsylvania native that's officiated football and basketball for a combined 22 years, all thanks to his wife.
I come from rural Pennsylvania, so football was number one and then basketball. So I did all of just football and basketball. I played about 6, 7, 8 years of football and about 4 or 5 years of basketball. And I had the opportunity to go to the higher level of football, but I got injured, and that was the end of my football career.
30-second call, wide timeout called by Willard. Coach, call it. Go ahead and start it. Thank you.
I have 2 boys. After they were getting into the higher grades, I coached them for football. And once they got into the higher levels, I wasn't coaching them anymore. So my wife and I went to a game, and I told my wife while we were watching my boys play football, I'm like, man, I really like to be back on the football field again. And my wife is the one who said, hey, we'll become an official. And I'm like, that's not a bad idea. Well, 2 weeks later, I took the test in Michigan, and I'm an official. So she's the one who started it. So I credit my wife to getting me to be an official.
Here we go. Here we go.
I think officiating, I love being out here with the kids. They keep me young. I love being out on the court, out on the football field. I think that's where I was born and bred to be. Coming from Western Pennsylvania, from where all the other football stars have come from, that was my number one. So football, I would have to say, is my number one sport. But basketball is always 70 and sunny, you know. But football, you deal with the elements, and we just have fun.
White, 3, 2, push.
My 2 boys, I think, are pretty proud of me. I tried to get them to into officiating, and they started going into soccer, but then they've moved on. They went to college and all the other stuff, so they're in the middle of their lives. But I started late. I started officiating very late. I wish I would have started earlier, because I would have loved to have done that. So I started when I was probably in my early 30s and that sort of thing. So I wish I would have started earlier.
Red, 5, on the arm, out of bounds.
The best part is the excitement, the crowds. It's nothing better than a rivalry game with all the crowds and you know both sides screaming and yelling. That really gets you really pumped up, and it really makes you want to do a really good job. And that's what I strive to do, is to do a really good job for those kids, and making sure that those kids are safe. The difficult thing is making sure that the coaches are happy, making sure that they understand if there's a rule. If they come up to you and say, why did you call that? You want to make sure that you tell them exactly what you saw. The first thing when I go to a coach, I always ask them, well, what did you see? Because they're not in the same spot that everyone else is. Even though they're a little closer to the court, they're not under the basket, or they're not over here. So you really got to say, look, coach, this is what I saw. And I understand they're out there to win. They're out there to fight for their kids, and that's totally fine. And I think that's a great job that they try to do. I credit all the coaches. I think they do a great job.
2, 3.
The associations that I've been in the Toledo Association, also Bowling Green. I know that both of them have tried to recruit officials and kids. I think getting out to the young kids to say, hey, you can do this. There is monetary awards for this. So, extra money helps out, especially if a kid's going to college or whatever. I think that helps out. But, it's a big question. How do we get more officials out there? Because there isn't very many of us, and I know that a lot of the supervisors and all the conferences have a hard time trying to find officials. There's a lot of mentoring programs going on now, and you'll find it rewarding, because after 22 years, I find it to be very rewarding, and I love doing it. It's a great, it's my second job, so to speak, and I hope to, after I retire, whenever that may be, I'm hoping to keep on doing it, because I don't want to give this up.
Stars in Stripes is brought to you by Midas, where you'll find the expertise you need to take care of your car. From brakes to tires to oil and everything else, trust the Midas touch.